Welcome to The Actual Story, the official podcast of the National Agricultural Communicators of Tomorrow. I'm your host, Lydia Hill, and I, along with the rest of the National Officer team, are here to share the voices, ideas, and stories shaping the future of agriculture and communications. Whether you're a student, professional, or simply passionate about the industry, this is your place to connect, learn, and be inspired. So without further ado, let's dive into today's actual story. So today's episode of The Actual Story looks a little bit different today. I have our National ACT Vice President Wyatt Morrow on with me, and we thought it would be a good idea just to go over a few things that are coming up here in the spring semester. And his main role as National Vice President is to manage our annual critique and contest competition, where awards are given out at Ag Media Summit every summer. So Wyatt, go ahead and tell us a little bit about like what critiquing contest is and kind of give us the rundown on it.
Absolutely. So critiquing contest is our big national ACT contest. If there's something in communications that you've done work on, we have a category for it. So you're going to be able to submit pieces of work that you've made, whether that's for classes, internships, things like that, and get professional feedback on it. You'll be, ranked, given scores, and then you'll be able to win some certificates, some plaques and things, awards like that, and be recognized at Ag Media Summit for that.
Perfect. And can you kind of walk us through like each categories, and then after that, there have been some changes to critiquing contest this year. So kind of walk us through what the changes have been as well.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to first go through the divisions. So we have writing, we have publication, we have electronic media, photography, design and layout, and public relations. Within writing, you have things such as news story, short feature, long feature, short personality profile, long personality profile, research related writing, editorial or single blog entry, and news and press release. So that's all the writing ones. In publication, we have small format publication. So with this, think of all of those smaller things that are not necessarily a magazine. And then we do have our magazine category. In electronic media, we have audio package, audio advertisement, short video production, long video production, and video advertisement. In photography, we have scenic, people, animal, plant, food, other, black and white, and a photo series, which that one is composed of 5 photos. In design and layout, we have page layout, poster or flyer, logo, infographic, print advertisement, electronic advertisement, blog and web design. And finally, in public relations, we have public relations campaign, a risk and crisis communications plan, social media campaign, single social media post, and the single public relations item. So there's a lot to digest there, but all of that is available on the National ACT website. So you should be able to go in there, check out all the different categories, and we also have examples of previous work that you're able to go in and see kind of what, not necessarily what we're looking for, but kind of what has done well in the past, if that makes sense.
Right. And for those who have never entered before and are interested in entering, can you walk us through like the entry process? Some people may have never used Submittable before. So yeah, just kind of walk us through that.
Absolutely. So on the website, you're going to see a button to submit through this like website kind of thing that we use, or like submission portal, however you go about saying that. And it's called Submittable. You'll go in. If you don't already have an account, you create one. It's free. There's nothing there. And then you'll be able to see all the different divisions, and within that, all the different categories. I will also mention that on top of the awards that you can receive for the different categories, there's also an overall winner for all the different divisions as well. I did forget to mention that. But it's very simple, cut and dry process. We do have it laid out in the rules, which are also available on the website. Um, what file types we're looking for, and specifically kind of how to go about that.
Okay. And I guess like my other question would be, what's the process if a school wants to submit their magazine?
Yes. So let me go down to our magazine section. If you're wanting to submit one, those are $20, and all of those will be mailed and postmarked no later than May 15th, which is the same deadline for all the other entries. But these have to be mailed to our National ACT Executive Treasurer, Shelley Legg. Um, and as long as those are postmarked no later than May 15th and they're sent off to Shelley, then you should be good.
Sweet. And what are the benefits of competing in critiquing contests? Have you ever entered something? Like, what did you think of the feedback you received? Like, is it worth the submission?
Yeah, so last year was the first full year of Wilmington's chapter, as some people have heard me say before. So, very first time submitting to critique and contest. I thought, kind of going in with a very fresh perspective to that. It was a very simple process. I very easily navigated submittable, and the feedback that I received was very beneficial. I took all that feedback that I received and have applied it to each of those different types of work that I do. So whether that was photography, design, writing, whatever that was, I took that feedback and I've applied it so far.
Right, for sure. And I submitted some writing pieces last year, and I think it's really great when you get a fresh perspective that isn't your professor or like a mentor, even though like I love my professors, like they do a really, really great job, but just seeing like what somebody else would say because your professor isn't going to be the one supervising your work once you get a job. Um, so I think like really getting those fresh perspectives from like industry professionals is really, really helpful.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And the industry professionals that help us judge, critique, and contest, they are all wonderful. Their feedback is just very, very insightful, and they're there to help you.
Yeah, for sure. And as we kind of discussed, critiquing contest awards are presented at Ag Media Summit every summer. So if you haven't heard of Ag Media Summit or you've never been, that is one of the two conferences that National ACT has during the year. But the thing about Ag Media Summit is that it's hosted with the Livestock Publications Council and the Ag Communicators Network. So not only are you interacting with other like ACT and like ag com majors, but you're networking with professionals as well. And so last year was my first time going to Ag Media Summit, and it was held in Rogers, Arkansas. I had the best time. Um, and I really, really recommend going just to like kind of highlight some things that happened there. Critique and contest awards are presented there. The new team of national ACT officers are selected there. Scholarships and awards for both Livestock Publications Council and Ag Communicators Network are presented there. And then throughout the week. There's just breakout sessions. Like we had a really cool, just like low key night at Top Golf where everybody went and had a really great time. I really, really recommend going to Ag Media Summit. And you can either go as a ACT member with your chapter, or if you don't have like a specific chapter yet at your school, you're welcome to just join as like an independent member and come along. You can also join as a member with the Ag Communicators Network or Livestock Publications Council. It is so, so worth your time and money and just like traveling. I learned so much. Do you have any takes on Ag Media Summit, Wyatt?
I completely agree with you. Um, Ag Media Summit last year ran during the Ohio State Fair, so I was the only person, even from my state, that went to Ag Media Summit, and that was very daunting. It was the first time I ever traveled alone, but ACT and even the individuals that were there from ACN and LPC, they are such welcoming individuals. These organizations, they're like I said, with all the judges that do critiquing contests, a lot of these similar people, we're all in the same places. They're there to help you. They want to see you succeed. And it just made the experience a lot less daunting for me and just so much more enjoyable. I got so much out of Ag Media Summit that I came home with this whole fresh new perspective on what I wanted to do in my career.
Yeah, and I think, like, the agriculture itself is like, I always have full circle moments, like, within people in the ag industry, just because, like, once you get in, you meet people who know this person and they know this person, and, like, the networking is really easy and everybody knows everybody, but it's even tighter knit strictly within ag communications because we all have the same purpose and same passion, and that is to tell agriculture's story. So there's always something you can like relate to with someone if they're at AMS or another conference. So I think that's what's really beautiful about Ag Media Summit. When we're talking about awards, some other awards that National ACT gives out are handed out at Ag Media Summit. I'm also going to walk through those just so, like, if you yourself are thinking about applying or you want to nominate your chapter or your advisor, you can kind of go ahead and get that ball rolling. So the first one is going to be the Chapter of the Year award. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this straight off the website. National ACT sponsors the Chapter of the Year award, recognizing local ACT chapters in areas of educational activities, social activities, leadership activities, fundraising activities, member recruitment and retention activities, and community service. The overall Outstanding Chapter of the Year award will also be rewarded. All you have to do is create a video that highlights the areas of your chapter completed during the 2025-2026 academic year. This video should not be longer than 5 minutes. Judges will be selected to review the entries and select award winners. Publish the video on YouTube and send the URL address to Member Relations Coordinator, that would be me, by May 15th. So you can find all this information on the website, but basically for chapter of the year, like you're just creating a really informative video of how cool your chapter is. And who doesn't want to do that? I think like all of our chapters, we have such a diverse chapter membership across the nation just because we're all from different backgrounds. Like we all have different commodities that we focus on, different lifestyles. And so it's really cool to see and like even interact with different chapters from across the nation. So definitely think about applying for that. The next one is the ACT Distinguished Alumnus Award. So each year, National ACT sponsors the Distinguished Alumnus Award, and it recognizes an outstanding ACT alumnus member every year. ACT chapters may submit one nominee each year. The National ACT officer team actually selects the winner of this award. And then the other award is the Distinguished Member of the Year award. So National ACT sponsors this award as well, and it is for an outstanding agricultural communications student who has had significant role in the success of local chapter activities. Each ACT chapter may submit one nominee each year. The National ACT officer team selects the recipient of this award. And then another one is the Honored Professional Award, and it recognizes an outstanding agriculture communications industry professional. So this award is the same thing as the distinguished member. It's just for someone like out of school in the industry. The nominee, this is really important, does not have to be a former ACT member. And the National ACT officer team also selects this. And then the very last award is the Honor Chapter Advisor Award. Pretty much same concept, recognizes two ACT chapter advisors, and ACT alumni and ACT chapters may submit one nominee annually. The nominee must be from a current dues paying chapter. So if your chapter is not on our list when dues were due October 31st, then that advisor is not eligible. And the National ACT Officer Team will select the recipients of this award, and this award is an engraved one. So, like I said, you can find all of that information on our website. But did you know anybody who has won any of these awards?
I do. I got to interact with the Honor Professional at Professional Development Conference when it was hosted by Oklahoma State, Casey Shepard. Absolutely wonderful. I think actually she was the first session I went to, and very deservedly um, giving back to Oklahoma State's chapter in many different ways. The member of the year, if I remember correctly, was Macy Carter. Her and her team at Oklahoma State did a wonderful job hosting PDC. And that was a very, very deserved award. The advisors, I'm pretty sure, were Dr. Courtney Myers from Texas Tech, and I'm pretty sure the other one was Kenneth Sandberg from Oklahoma State, both of which have done amazing work. I mean, Oklahoma State hosted PDC this year, Texas Tech will be hosting it this next year in 2027. So they've been doing great works within their chapters. And then I think that covers it.
Yeah, I think all of the awards that Oklahoma State won were very, very well deserved. They were super hard to put on PDC last year, and looking forward to seeing everybody at Ag Media Summit again this year. Moving away from our National ACT Awards, I also want to put this bug in your ear as well if you're listening. The Ag Communicators Network gives out 3 scholarships to National ACT members who are planning to attend the Ag Media Summit. These applications are due March 15th. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. You can find it on the ACN website. It's most likely available on the National ACT website as well. But if travel may be a concern you have for getting to Ag Media Summit this year, where it's located in St. Louis, Missouri, um, then feel go ahead and apply for that. I believe it requires definitely a cover letter, like essay situation, resume, some other questions, and then you have to have a contact for a recommendation to for that person to write you a letter. And then just one last award, um, not necessarily an award, but a recognition. Each month, National ACT picks someone who has submitted a photography piece. Um, to be our monthly photography contest spotlight. And you can find that link in the bio of our Instagram. And you just submit a picture, and the national officer team picks which picture they like the best, and they're featured on our socials. So if you're looking into getting photography and you are wanting to get your name out there, I think that's a really great way just to, put your photography elsewhere than like your own photography account. And I guess the last thing that I would want to tell you guys about is the National ACT Officer Team is more than happy to, make be a presence at your chapter meetings and events you may have, whether that is virtual or in person. We have 2 members in South Dakota, and then another officer is in Iowa. Wyatt is in Ohio and I'm in Georgia, so we have pretty much everywhere covered besides um like the Southwest states, so like Texas, Oklahoma, and those chapters. But I personally would love a trip out to Texas or Oklahoma again. I'm never gonna fuss about it. So if you guys are just, we want to be here to support our chapters. That's what we're here for. So if you guys are interested in doing that, shoot any of us an email. And I think that is all we have for today. Wyatt, do you have anything else?
Before we go, I want to mention some of the changes that we've made to the critiquing contest. Um, we've talked about this a little bit during the business session at PDC this year at Texas A&M, but we just want to reiterate some of those. Again, all available in the rules on the website. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the magazine category. Excuse me. Um, those can have 2 magazines submitted per university. We've gotten some questions about that, but yes, per university you can submit 2. We know that sometimes they do fall and spring issues of a magazine, so that is a-okay there. Some other changes that we had, we all entries are $5 across the board, obviously other than the magazine category, which is 20. Editorial and single blog entries, those were combined into one category in the writing division. News and press release was moved to the writing division from public relations. The newsletter, e-newsletter, brochure, and pamphlet, that's all the things that were combined into small format publication. If you're curious about kind of what the criteria is for that, again, in the rules. Um, the magazine category price, $20. That was a change this year. In design and layout, the advertisement category, it's now separated for print advertisement and electronic advertisement. And this is probably one of my favorites. There's a brand new category this year, and I already mentioned it, but it is the Risk and Crisis Communications Plan. We've seen this become very popular, especially throughout the last year, and wanted to give our members an opportunity, if they've been doing some work with Risk and Crisis Communications Plan, to submit something. So again, there is specific criteria for each category, but that was reviewed and most descriptions were updated to provide additional clarification. So before you submit, make sure you check out the rules to make sure you're hitting all the bases. Um, Even though some of the previous winners are featured on the website, just again, before you submit, try to double check the rules. That's all I got.
Sweet. Yes. Thank you for letting us know about those reminders. All the things we talked about today, I'll make sure to link in the bio of this episode. So, whether that's scholarship awards, ACT awards, critique and contests, any links that I have, I'll make sure to link them here so you can just go straight to it and you don't have to dig. But that's all we have for today. I know it was a fairly short episode, but I'm looking forward to our next guest that's going to be on the following episode of the podcast. Let's just say she has very small, fluffy cows that she's excited to talk about. Yeah, that's all we have for today, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of The Actual Story.
Thanks for tuning in to The Actual Story. Be sure to subscribe and share so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep telling agriculture's actual story.